Okay, so happy Memorial's Day, first of all, Black women. I hope that everyone is enjoying their day. You're having a safe day, and that this day is just going to be, if you want to have fun, fun. You want to relax, I hope it's relaxing. Whatever you want this day to be, I hope it gives it to you in abundance, all right? I'm doing this video because I want to talk about developing a more positive mindset among Black women, and to cover a lot of the discourse and the issues that have been going on in YouTube with a lot of the women and the subscribers and the collective of Black women. I want to be the first to say that none of us are perfect, okay? And this includes me, because I get frustrated too. I lash out, as do every other content creator, due to frustration and a lot of times misunderstanding the message, or in receiving a message, because what we tend to forget as Black women is that we're Black women in this world, and we are targeted by everyone, including other women who look like and are us. So, in knowing that, we have to go the extra mile when we look at things, try to interpret things, or analyze things, or even receive the message properly. We got to go the extra step of understanding, like, all of these social issues and psychological problems that are only inherent to Black women alone, because we are the only women in this country that has ever suffered all of the indignities against our humanity from slavery to present day. And it has been a constant beratement and attack on our humanity and on our individual person. So I'm trying to come here today and talk about upliftment and giving each other more grace, more empathy, more understanding, and allowing each other to be authentically who we are as we all progress. And for us to move a little bit differently than we're moving, because it's not going to be beneficial for Black women to constantly be scattered all over the YouTube platform because of their allegiance or their loyalties to people, and they just blanket that and they don't want to think outside of that box. It's very detrimental to us on a whole. So I want to talk to some of the main issues that are plaguing us today and how we can get around them. And I want you to keep in mind this most important message that I got from the channel The Feminine Universe. Now, this woman is so extremely positive. She should be on everyone's page or recommendations, subscriptions, whatever. She's so positive, and she's always talking about the upliftment of Black women. And she also guides you and shows you the way, gives you the information. The same thing that I have been talking about since I came on here, that it's not enough to browbeat Black women into change, or browbeat Black women into them conforming to your opinion of them, or whatever. You can't turn people into something they don't have the ability to do due to lack of information. And honestly, Black women, that's all it is with us. We're not dumb. A lot of us have been misled. We've been miseducated. We have been treated a certain way, to the point where once we get past that plateau where we're stuck at, in thinking that the treatment we got is what we deserve, we will excel. I also wanted to say that we got to keep in mind that the common denominators for all of these problems that we're having amongst each other, unnecessarily so, is about self-esteem and self-confidence. In setting that stage, I'm going to let the Feminine Universe begin her video and speak very loudly and proudly about how you're supposed to feel about yourself, and then we'll go from there.
Lack of confidence is tied to a lack of belief in your abilities. Once you prove to yourself that you're capable, it becomes impossible not to feel confident. Hi, ladies. Welcome back to the Feminine Universe. I am so happy to have you here. Whether in business, dating, or social interactions, confidence is constantly listed as one of, if not the most attractive trait in the world. But there are
It's
so many
true.
different takes
You can
and
do it.
opinions on confidence. What it is, what it looks like, how to get it, and how to keep it. So today we are going to get into what it takes to have real, unshakable confidence. Let's get started. When people lack confidence or are looking for ways to improve their confidence, you'll often hear the advice, fake it till you make it. I don't think that that's the worst advice in the world by any means. I would much prefer that you act confident rather than outwardly appear insecure and make yourself an easy target. And
Okay, we'll stop there with her, right? Because that was the gist of her whole video. So I wanted you to hear that and get that from her. If you want to watch this video, I have no problem putting it in the description of this video. The name of that video from the Feminine Universe was Be More Confident, Your 7-Step Plan, Real Results to a Feminine Mindset. Now, personally, me, you know I have a problem with all of that stuff about building femininity and being more feminine because it is a bunch of bullshit. It was originated by black men trying to dehumanize and belittle you. You're always feminine. It doesn't matter how rough you are feminine. Because you are female, a natural born female woman, natural born female girl, you are always feminine. You have a God given femininity. And that femininity is not defined by some male who wants you to comply to his opinion of how or what you should be so that he can get free sex, free services from you, such as cooking, cleaning, and the hardest chore of all, which is to reproduce and bring forth another human being. They should get none of that for free. And by me saying that, I will be the first to tell you that I understand when people are trying to tell you that when you're in relationships with men, you should get money or look for ways to have them do the most for you versus you doing the most for them. I totally agree with that. I have lived my whole life like that. However, there are ways that you have to legally and technically go about those things in order to keep yourself from getting hurt and eventually really getting yourself killed, which is why so many older women came out and was against the whole Shira thing, because I think the misunderstanding that a lot of women are doing is that they think that those of us that are opposed to her message, Shira's message, is that you're thinking we're telling you that you're not supposed to look for a relationship where a man is supposed to take care of you. You're absolutely correct. What you're supposed to do is look for a relationship where you are treated as an adult, equal to him, and he understands that he is supposed to help and provide, not solely take care of you. Because when you look for people to solely take care of you, and she said it plenty of times in her own videos, in her first 5 years of her videos, you will get abused and you will get used, and you also have the high likelihood of getting yourself literally killed. We all know black femicide is not a joke. It is very real. It is here with us every day. Our women die every 4 to 5 hours of the day. And now the fact that these black males hate you so much, in California, Oakland, human trafficking of our girls and our women have become the number one way these black males are making a living and demonstrating to you just how much they hate you, because they don't care about your livelihood, your humanity, or anything. They care about you being a human commodity where they can use you and make money off you until you die. So if that does not give you a wake-up call and let you know that there are not ample men out here waiting to roll out the red carpet for you and treat you like you are their princess and they're your Prince Charming, you should understand that these men are not out here coming to save you. They're not. If anything, they're coming to use you and trying to see what they can get from you. And it is your job to deter that as much as you can and get from them as much as you could get from them without giving out. And I'm not talking about just sex. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about your time, everything. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no game playing to be had. Because I know from dealing with men for years and years, it is better to be upfront, not play head games, and just be straight serious, because you will weed out the assholes from people who are really trying to do something for you. Just come straight out with it. Listen, if you're looking to be in a relationship with me, you are going to have to provide money. You're not going to monopolize my time, and you're going to have to respect me as an adult. If I am not in agreement with something, I'm not going to go back and forth with you on you trying to convince me to go along with it. You have to be strong and stern, and you have to lay down the rules, whatever it is. If you want things, come out and ask for it. It's no fucking games with these dudes. That's why I was getting so upset with y'all, because when you play games with people and people feel like they're being deceived, they will get angry and they will hurt you, right? But if you're straightforward from the beginning, their true character is going to come out immediately. And this is what is also taught in psychology. If you really want to know where a person stands and who they truly are, most people, even if they're in the best character performance of their life, if you trigger a certain emotion, mostly anger or disagreement, they're going to fall out of that character. So the best way to do that is if when you first meet a person, you read a couple of psychology articles about interactions with people, debates with people, discussing difficult topics with people, and then read and learn how the psychology article tells you to look for the triggers in that person. Like if you're talking to a guy, and this happens to be a guy who is like the majority of them, he's totally adamant against spending money on women, right? And you start a conversation on gold digging, or even if not even have to go that hard at first, but being a person that expects to be given money and to be shown lavishness from this dude, whatever they could afford. Everybody can't afford to fly you to Europe. Everybody can't afford to take you to the Caribbean for the weekend or whatever it is. A lot of those things cost real money, and a lot of people don't have it. But if it is a person that is not trying to spend money on you at all, you're going to find that out right away, because once you bring up that topic, they're going to get angry, and they're going to respond to you in a way to demean you, insult you, and to convince you that you're not worth them coming out of their pocket for you. That right there is all you need. Once you learn that and you see that, you cut strings, you get away from them, you don't deal with them ever again, and move on to the next person. And I will guarantee you, when you deal with people openly, honestly, and you have those difficult conversations, and you ask the difficult questions, they will come out and show you who they truly are. And then you put them to the test. If you're going to go out, you explain to them, if we're going to go on this date, I expect you to pay for this entire meal. If I'm coming, if you're going to take an Uber, there's nothing wrong with this person paying for your stuff, right? They don't have to come pick you up. I would never suggest letting these people know where you live. But let's just say you walk a couple of blocks from your house or whatever, or wherever you go, a common place, and then you have the car pick you up from there to take you where you're going. You can do things like that. You can become imaginative or do it yourself, whatever. Leave that portion out for them and just let them pay for the food or whatever else it is, or whatever entertainment you're doing. You got to be clear as to what you expect from him, and no games. Because that way the person is going to show you whether they're down for it or they're not. And you'll also be able to read their body language and their facial expressions to understand that if this is a person playing with you just to do this to appease you because they think they only got to do this one time or a couple of times, but maybe by the fourth time you see visible aggravation and frustration, that's your cue to go, thank you, no thank you, have a nice day. and leave and don't be fucking around with them. And always be weaponed up in case these people turn violent at the drop of a dime, because whenever you're dealing with men of any race, that is always a strong possibility, right? So I also wanted to talk about this other real issue that is something that I think black women need to work on, and this is the hate we give to other black women. Now, you can get frustrated and you could call a black woman a bitch from time to time, because you are human and you are allowed to be upset and experience every range of emotion that a human goes through. But what you're not allowed to do is constantly give hate towards other black women to make it seem like we are the worst women in the world and we just never going to be able to get our shit together, and keep continuing that us versus them shit, because that has to stop. And even though I like this next content creator, I don't like that she does this quite a lot, because the poisoning of the mind is very harmful. And it is especially harmful to young women who may not have been given the proper instruction to go out into this world and be able to understand that not every black woman that has an attitude or who may not do right by you in the moment is the most fucked up person in the world, and you never will be able to rely on her for anything and you need to stay away from her. That's not always the case. It's not. Because when I think about stuff like that, I think about myself. Like, I'm a very stoic person, as you can see. Like, I don't do a lot of that smiling and trying to please people and trying to kiss ass or placate. I'm very straightforward. They regard me as rough, right? And also people have referred to me as evil and all these things that I am definitely not. But the one thing that I am is very defensive. And when I say that, I don't mean like openly or verbally defensive. I mean like I protect me before I protect you, in a sense where I have a guard up around me, and I don't care if they tell you that means that there's something wrong with me or whatever. So be it. I will own that shit 100%. I don't never let nobody get that close to me. Period. Because I know from, dealing with physical defense and all this type of shit, people use smiles, complacency, and non-threatening behavior to trick you into lowering your guard so that they could seriously harm you. And they can do that in every way imaginable: physical, mental, verbal, psychological. They could do it in many ways. So when you're a person that centers yourself, even though you care about the collective of women, you will, it's not even like a thing of vetting or screening. You just hold everybody to the same caliber. You don't trust, and you don't let your guard down 100%. You trust within the limits that the situation would normally dictate, and don't go any further than that, because that person has to prove themselves to you, basically. So when I hear stuff like this is what we're going to have to work on. And as she talks, I'm going to stop and I'm going to go into it, because I want to explain something to y'all.
Okay. I decided to make a quick little video because the last couple of days, I've been on TikTok, like just watching things go down on TikTok, but I don't really make TikToks. You know what I'm saying? But for the last couple of weeks, I've seen a lot of people doing commentary on She-Ra 7 from YouTube. Now I know all about She-Ra, but as far as I know, She-Ra 7 is not on TikTok. So it was kind of mind blowing that a lot of people have been, talking about her YouTube videos, bringing her YouTube videos to TikTok.
Okay, let me stop. She's right. What I found out, right? Because I was looking on TikTok for a couple of days, and what I found out was that black males, brought She-Ra 7 to TikTok. And they brought her to TikTok, and they made several different TikTok pages disguised as her, promoting her videos all over those channels to make money. And if you go on TikTok and you see there are a whole bunch of Shera 7 channels that are not her, the numbers are in the thousands. So this is something these dudes sat and watched, because this is who they are. They sit and they watch the patterns of black women on these platforms in order to find ways to make money. So since they saw she had a huge following, right, on TikTok, and they did not like or agree with her message, they brought it to TikTok. And they had no, believe me, they're not that smart. They had no idea that it would get around and fluctuate so much that it would trigger and activate spiritual whistleblower and the whole thing that came out of that. Now, bringing up spiritual whistleblower, those same guys did the same thing to spiritual whistleblower. When you go on TikTok, you will see tons of spiritual whistleblower pages and stitches and duets created by these black males to keep the shit going, because they're banking off of what I'm going to talk to you about Kara's video today, and they like to keep the confusion, the hatred, the mistrust, and the hate from black women to black women going, because that fuels them to do these things they do, to create these channels to make money off of our stupidity, our ignorance, and our unnecessary competition that they indoctrinate into us towards other women to continue amongst each other. They started that.
Pretty much making her TikTok famous, and she doesn't even have a TikTok. But when I started seeing a lot of people quoting her and saying sprinkle, sprinkle, and all this other stuff, I was like, is Shera 7 on TikTok, or are people just taking her YouTube videos and putting on TikTok? That's what a lot of people are doing, trying to build TikTok pages. Mm-hmm. They're taking other people's content, slicing it up and then uploading it on TikTok, and they're building a following on TikTok off of other people's content. So there's a lot of people on TikTok that's taking Shera videos and putting them on TikTok, getting a lot of views off of her name. But, they're also driving traffic to her YouTube channel. But when I saw it a couple months ago, I was like, wow, I'm surprised that black women and women in general, but especially black women, I'm surprised that they are, gravitating to her message, because a lot of people will say, well, I'm not a gold digger. Black women always like to try to shame women that are all about the money, all about getting the bag. So
I'm going to stop there, talk two things. The reason those guys started putting Shera on TikTok is because, like I said, they do not like her message, which is telling black women to stop accepting giving yourself, your body, your time, your energy to these dudes for free. Period. They don't like that, because they're poor motherfuckers that don't have no money. And because she's telling them, go get money, they have a problem with that. So what they did was, they went back to the first 5 years of her videos and put up videos that put her in a bad light, that makes it look like she has a horrible character. Now, I'm not judging her, because I'm not doing that, because I don't know, I'm just not doing it. I don't always agree with what she's telling people, young women, to do because of the risk factor. But when it comes to telling black women to make these pieces of shit pay for their time and their body, and I'm 100 in agreement with that. But anyway, the thing that she's talking about right now with the silly shit of black women telling other black women that they shouldn't be gold diggers, and that is not black women on a whole. That is black males, and all of you know it. She knows it. Now, why she's doing that is because she has a problem with other black women. I don't like that about her, but I can't make her over, so I got to accept her as she is, right? I've noticed that she has a problem with black women who have male children. She has a problem with low education having black women, and sometimes black women that have a lot of education, and anything where black women are dealing with black males, she has a problem with that on her videos. Now, who she is personally, I do not know, so I can't speak to that. I can only speak to what she has talked about and done and said on these videos. Because even I have had my tanglings with her where we went back and forwards at one point, and then I, let her know, I'm not your enemy. I'm just trying to tell you that some of the things that you're saying, because I'm one of those women, is not true. And that you need to be cool with how you try to blanket all of us as being one-dimensional, because we're not. So the thing she's talking about here, where she's blaming the whole thing of black women trying to make other black women feel bad about the gold digger thing and trying to get your value out of any relationship you're in, is, in my opinion, is not all the way true. It's not partially. It's partially true. Okay? Because we all know that the manosphere dudes and all those dudes that hate women and come on here making money off of black women, they definitely feel that way. Because they don't have any money to give, so they don't want you to ask for any money. And then when you have the women that want to be in those guys' world, and they also have channels, and you know who they are, the Crimson Cure lady, the other, there's so many of them, right, that go along with this blackmail rhetoric and disrespect black women because black women want to demand to be given respect and treated as if they are valuable human beings when a man is trying to pursue them for a relationship and sexual gratification. If you want me, you're going to pay to be around me, and it has nothing to do with prostitution or feeling like I should just give everything I have to you for free, because that is not the world we live in. It costs money for women to get dolled up to deal with men. It costs money for bring these loser ass motherfuckers into your house, which I tell y'all, stop doing that shit. Stop bringing them in your home. But when you do that dumb shit of bringing them in your house, they run up your bills more than your bills were before they got there. They run down your fucking car the way your car was never run down before. If you are one of these women that unfortunately give these dudes a cell phone, they blow up a bill for you. They make bills for you that you did not have before they entered your life. So therefore, whenever any woman is saying you need to pay to occupy my space, they are correct. Because this person should be supplementing you. That's what I mean when I say a man should be a supplement to you. Meaning anytime you give them any amount of your time, they should always be giving and pouring into you. If they can't do that, do not fuck with them completely. Don't give them no time. But as far as all that stuff about trying to play them and game and all that, I tell you, don't do it. Because we have seen countless videos on Black Girl on Lost and all the other women that cover black femicide of women putting themselves in precarious situations where these dudes are fucked up to begin with, and then they ultimately go all out by taking the black woman's life, and then too many times the babies as well, which really hurts me. So that's the thing that I have a problem with, that we got to understand and stop doing. Like, instead of talking about these women who want to side with these black dudes and, oh yeah, these fucking da-da-da-da, no. Push them to the side. Teach the women that is not what you're supposed to be doing. Anybody that's telling you, woman or male, that's telling you that you're supposed to freely be taken advantage of by any guy that comes your way, does not have your best interests at heart. And that crosses all lines: religion, gender, socioeconomic group, education. It crosses all that. No person should ever tell you that you should give yourself up to anybody for free, let them abuse you for free. And I mean that literally. Even if you're in a situation where, like this lady said, this Shira lady said, you got to take abuse. Like, think about it for a minute. If you married or you're in a significant relationship with this person and it's going to take time to get away from them, still don't let them do shit to you for free. If you have to do stuff, make them pay for it. If you used to pay the light bill, stop paying it. Let them pay it. Either they pay it or the shit goes off. Do that. If whatever it is, if you are doing it primarily and you still got to deal with this person who's getting over on you, stop doing it. And if it means you got to get kicked out or whatever the fuck it is, make plans before that day comes for you to have another option to go to, or give it up completely and go somewhere else and let everything fall on them, fall apart and fall down on them. I literally have done that more than enough times. Like, people take you for granted and you got to literally show them, oh, okay, that's how you think it's going to go? Okay, watch this. I will pick up all my shit and just leave. Period. Even if you have to switch shit to their name or whatever you got to do, or just turn it off. Because with utilities and stuff like that, you could call a company, pay shit, and then give them a cutoff date. And by that company cutoff date, you just be somewhere else. Period. And like I said, always be ready to be prepared to handle yourself and protect yourself with weapons and everything else you need. Because you know people will think that because you're a black woman, you're an easy win and they can muscle you, beat you, do whatever they want. And you have to show them, no, you cannot. No, you cannot.
Say, I'm not a gold digger, I'm not a prostitute, I'm not an escort, I'm not a sugar baby, I'm not any of these things. I have so much morals, I have so much class, but most of them are baby mamas, or they come from baby mamas.
Okay. That right there too. Listen. I grew up in a time in the 80s and 90s where y'all call it sugar babies or whatever. Back when I was in high school, we called it being a call girl, right? They literally had hotlines, websites, and actual agencies that hired women, a lot of black women. One of my good friends when we were in high school, Andrea, she was a call girl. And she had a specific clientele. She had, those people provided her with bodyguards and security. I'm serious. Like back in the days in New York City, before Giuliani, prostitution was a big thing. You had two types. You had the low level, the ones walking the street, hooked on drugs. And then you had the ones in the penthouses that were signed to agencies to work 4 days out the week, make a certain amount of money, and they had specific clients. Y'all should know this very well, because if you ever read the history of Elliot Spitzer, you would know what I'm talking about. The ring of prostitutes or call girls that he used to fraction and function with, my friend used to work for that agency. So there's no black women, there's no shame in living however you want to live. You just live it to the point where you are safe. Safe. And the money you make is something that is going to take care of you throughout your lifetime, period. Not taking care of a dude at all. This other part where she's talking about they all come from baby mamas, I don't like that. Okay, I don't like that at all, because all of us are baby mamas, whether we have a marriage or we were, like myself and many other black women, young, naive, believing in love. Actually, we were the only ones in love. The other person wasn't in love with us, but we damn sure was in love with that other person. We have to learn and grow. None of us were ever born straight out the womb a fucking adult knowing all the do's and don'ts in the world. Me, as hard as I am now, I was once too a young, stupid, big-eyed girl with all types of dreams and believing in fantasies from the fairy tales I was read at night, and the fairy tales I read, and the Disney movies I watched whenever they came out, right? My favorite Disney of course, was Cinderella, as probably as many people's fucking favorite fairy tale, because it is a girl who is abused, ragged, and tattered, and she comes into a prince who takes her away from all her problems, and they run off into the sunset and live happily ever after. What little girl who has ever been abused, mistreated, and violated doesn't want some savior to come on their white horse and take her away? All of us. So when you talk about black women like that, that shows a couple of things to me. And mind you, I'm not going in on her because I actually like her. I just know that none of us are perfect. But a lot of the things that we say, we need to be more mindful of, right? I get where she's coming from. You never know what has happened in her life to make her feel that way. But me, being a person who I have family members where they're single moms. They had never been married, but they actually cared for this guy, put a whole lot of years into this guy, thought he was going to do right by them, and then he ultimately did them dirty and their children dirty. I'm not going to, and even myself, I was married twice, and each one of those dudes started off decent, and then they turned into two pieces of shit, right? That's not my fault. It's not my children's fault. But me as a mother, I still have to be responsible as my cousins were responsible to continue on. They didn't throw their children out into the street or give them away because the father that they had those kids by were no good. They stayed there. They got themselves together. They did whatever it took to provide for them and their children. Even if it meant going back to school, getting a GED, moving somewhere, getting 2 jobs if they didn't have one that was sufficient, and doing whatever it took to make sure they were safe, their children were safe, and they raised them to be decent people. So that whole stereotype about always trying to make it seem like the single mom is the stereotypical one that we see on every fucked up Hollywood movie, the nightly news, where it's this propaganda out here to make the single black woman as if she, with taking care of her children, is the worst fucking wretch in the world. Stop using that word ratchet because it's ignorant and it doesn't speak to the character. It is a word that was created to insult black women. The word is wretch. So trying to make them look like a wretch of a person, where the definition of that word means a person of very low standing, very low behavior, and intelligence, and just their whole entity is low. That's what the word wretch means. So they run around social media itself, YouTube, individual black dudes, the collective of black guys, individual black women, some collective of black women, and they try to tear down the black woman that's doing the very thing all of us are out here doing, which is trying to hold shit together that we are responsible for. Now, yeah, if you don't have a lot of education and you didn't have like the best surroundings where you could become one of these people with a high moral standing, and you have the highest integrity, and you're a no nonsense, take no shit type of person, we don't all turn out that way. But we're not always all the other way either, where we're all bad and we don't have no good qualities, no redeeming qualities, or nothing about us that makes us worthy of a good life. That's not true. So I don't like to hear that, because what it does is it paints a picture about devaluing black women based off of a situation they have in life. That is only temporary, because regardless of how many baby mothers there are, those kids are going to grow up. So she still has the chance to do something different with her life, as do her children. And all of those things are what I'm talking about that we need to start concentrating more of. Think about the future, the good change, and how you can make things different. Not wallowing in the fact that here we got this problem, we didn't have this problem for a long time, and I guess we just going to keep this problem. We going to never sit down and put our heads together or individually work towards individual change so we no longer have that situation. You guys refer to it as what I heard y'all say, generational curses or whatever. I don't believe in curses, but generational dysfunction and taught generational dysfunctional behavior is very real. So when you see those things and you say to yourself, okay, I see traces of that on me, I'm going to work to do better and get out of that shit, just do it. And I always tell y'all, you're not your mother, you're not your grandmother, you're not any, or your fucked up father. You're not any of those people you're related to that did not do right by you in your opinion. So if you want to do differently, get up and do it. There's nothing stopping you. You got all this space and opportunity that you could take advantage of.
But only time they got morals in class is when it's time to get the bag out of a man. You know, they will manipulate and say, oh, women are manipulating men. They're taking their money. They're sugar.
Now, with that, she has a point to a certain extent because we see that being perpetuated to young girls through music, videos, and particular women they want to put up as this unholy image of the fucked up siren that is just out here doing all these horrible things to men. That's part of the propaganda. Now, even though that does exist and there are some people like that, that doesn't mean that overall all of us are so fucked up that we can't get shit done and we have no choice but to hate each other because it's written in stone and you got to do what's written. No. You can make change at any time. Anytime. Anytime. And I'm all with the change and getting black women to understand that the sooner we get more solidarity and unity amongst each other, the better off we're going to be. Once we stand up and start centering ourselves and push all these dudes to the side, we will be better for it. Because there's one commonality when it comes to all of us different fractions of women having an issue with each other, BWE, divestors, whoever else is out there. It is a black male or a white male or any other type of male. But once you take them out of the equation and you start saying, this is what the women need to do. This is what I, as the woman, needs to do. Later for them, things will get better. Because as she talks further, she's going to start talking about men. And the thing I don't like that she does do is she tries to put white men above black men. And I don't agree with that. I think all men are fucking shit. I think all men are fucking trash. I happen to know for a fact that black males are worse to black women than other men, but every one of them motherfuckers has their stereotypical hatred and prejudice against you because the whole fucking world is anti-black and anti-black woman more than black male. So to sit here and say that this white dude is not going to do fucked up shit to you just because he's white, that is so untrue. Because we don't even have to go into all the videos and all the personal testimonies of black women showing you that that is not true. We don't need to do that. We know it's true. We know it exists. People are people, no matter what.
Babies, they're using men, they're using their bodies. So I was kind of blown away that people were accepting the message that comes from She-Ra 7, because She-Ra 7 message is all about getting the bag.
No, it's not.
Any means necessary, getting the bag, you know, being pretty much like a sugar baby, getting with older men, you know, marrying up, leveling up. Her message is all about getting the bag, regardless of what is going on out of these men that you deal with, you know, in spite of majority of women dealing with men and getting absolutely nothing out of the deal. Most women just sleep around for free, entertain men for free, get their feelings hurt for free.
None of that is true. Now, her message is not just about getting the bag. Her message is also about fucking over other women to get whatever it is you want and need. And don't give a fuck about what happens to her. Okay, that is really what her message is. I don't agree with that part. Okay? The other thing is this whole thing of this stereotypical trying to dehumanize black women in the, oh, you fucking for free, you giving yourself away for free. That is not true. There's no black woman that ever walks up to a man and goes, here I am. I'm here today to be fucked for free, to be used and abused, and for you to make me feel like shit so that I could then develop a complex and continue to live my life as this hurt woman who feels unused, unwanted, and abused, unloved, used, and unwanted. Nobody's signing up for that shit. That's the stuff that happens because black women who are very loving in nature decide to take a chance on a person they have feelings for and shit does not go right. And a lot of this is young girls being targeted by predatory black males who prey on girls 15 to 25, and those men are impregnating those little girls who are like 15, and the men age ranges are like from 20 to 35. So you cannot keep continuously blaming this shit on black women, because it is not about you chose wrong. No, it is the fact that you're being fucking preyed on. And then when you don't have a support network in your home, let's say you don't, sorry, one moment. Sorry about that. I had to go get the pot out the kitchen. So what I was saying was, let's say you don't have a support system in your home, right? And you have one of these, like Spiritual Whistleblower talks about, these narcissistic, abusive moms, right? It's very difficult for a young girl to try to find her way in life and know the do's and don'ts of relationships and what man is predatory and which man isn't when she doesn't know. So to make that statement about women, it's not cool, and it is not fully correct, because even as women get older and you see them, in your opinion, repeating the same cycle when things have already hurt them and done the worst to them, right? They repeat it because in a lot of cases, when you study the domestic violence pyramid or the signs, it's supposed to be 6 of them of domestic violence, you will understand how it psychologically affects you. You begin, and not Stockholm Syndrome, because that's a totally different thing. You have to literally be kidnapped for that to apply to you. Because the whole thing is, with the Stockholm Syndrome, you understand that this person has taken you against your will, and now you cannot leave. So your mind has to wrap itself around a way of dealing with the situation so that you can survive. So, but within domestic violence, you can leave. It is your fear that may tell you, I gotta stay here. But you are well aware of the fact that you can leave at any time. You can leave by yourself when that person is gone, or you could call the police, and when the police arrive, tell the police, I need to leave. I do not feel safe here with this person. I think my life is in jeopardy, and I want you to ensure I safely leave this place. And you do it. Okay. So that's the reason why I don't like that type of rhetoric talk. Because whenever we start coming down on black women and we start going in on how they live their lives or how life has done them, we never take the time to stop and think about all the contributing factors and all the other extenuating factors that either put those women in those situations or keep them in it. And when I say keep them in it, y'all know what I mean. You know how a lot of the women's, but I'm going to use divestors for the example, always telling people to move out of the black communities. They use that disgusting word I'm not going to repeat, right? but they tell you to move out of the black community. Where are you going to go when you really don't have a lot of money? Where are you really going to go when you live in certain states, unlike mine, where you don't have immediate homeless placement, or you don't have landlord tenant rights that work in the best interest of the tenant and not the landlord? In most of the states throughout America, with the exception of my city and maybe a few others, they're all landlord protection and benefit based. So it's very difficult to scream to black women all over America, oh, move out of the black community if shit is bad for you, and da-da-da-da, because sometimes it may be impossible for them to do that. If a woman only makes about $2,500 a month, it's very difficult for her to pay her rent, take care of all her necessities for however she lives, her children and etc., and put away a significant amount of money so that she could have a down payment for a new apartment, a new home, whatever it may be, any type of rental or new ownership. It's almost impossible to do that. So these are all of the things I want you to consider instead of tearing your fellow black woman down, okay? I want you to incorporate real life shit and situations into looking at her when you judge her, and see her through a fair lens of evaluation and go, yeah, she's doing some fucked up shit. She's doing all right in this area. This area she needs a lot of fucking help in. And instead of condemning her 100%, stick to the areas that need a little bit of help. Provide the information or suggest it to her. But most importantly, give her the accolades and the praise for the shit that she's doing right. If she survived a fucking abusive alcoholic, or she survived a near-death experience, or violation after violation from the time she was 5 years old to 12 or 13, whatever, give her her accolades for that. Respect the journey she has been on to get where she's at today. I tell you this because I am one of those little girls that had experienced all that type of fucking debauchery, okay? And even though it turned me into a very hard, I'll kill a motherfucker in a minute type of person, I still can see the woundedness in another person and not attack it if she looks like me, just to do it because she is like me. We got to stop that shit.
Used up, dogged out, and just, dumped for free. So this is what most women do, and then they'll come and say, oh, I got so much morals, I got so much class. No, you're just a fucking dumb bitch at the end of the day. But I was surprised that a lot of women on TikTok was gravitating to She-Ra 7's message, because most of these black bitches will get on here and say that, oh, that's gold digging. I'm not a gold digger. I work.
Okay, disregard the fact that she called them black bitches. We all do that when we get frustrated. But here's the thing I want her to stop doing. Stop doing the us versus them, okay? Stop with the divide and conquer. That's what white people do. Stop that shit amongst each other. Now, the reason she may be surprised, which she shouldn't, about black women, a lot of young black women accepting Shira's message. And mind you, her message is not completely wrong. I'm with the have a motherfucker pay for your value, but I'm not with the games and trying to trick them into giving you money or trick them out of their money, because they will fuck you up for that, and you know that. So anyway, she shouldn't be surprised at that, because there is a movement. It is a huge movement. I see it every day in the streets where I live, walking around. Black women are centering themselves. They don't want to be abused anymore. They are tired of being told, oh, you ugly bitches, we don't fucking love you, we don't want you, all you could do is suck my dick, have my kids, and be somebody I want to fuck, but not the person I want to take care of for the rest of my life, not the person I want to claim as my loving wife, or a person I feel like is going to give me my clout and status in society like a white bitch would or another motherfucking bitch would. We're tired of hearing that shit. We're tired of being the ones that get hurt in society, get killed in society every day, and only black women speak up for us. And lately, other women who are in public office who understand the power of the black woman block vote are starting to speak up for black women too, who are dying from black femicide, which is why I always tell you, black women, make sure you exercise your vote and you look at these fucking people's in these offices voting records, and if they're not voting for the benefit of black women, for them to be able to own their own homes, get education, and not have so much debt, there are ways around that. And even if you have that debt, educational debt, is not the fucking end of the world, right? But they have to be people who are looking to ensure and secure your rights as women. Because I don't know if many of you women know it, these Republican people, GOP people, they are trying to make it where women can no longer get a divorce from their husband as quick as they used to. What they're trying to do now is they're trying to make it where if you want to get a divorce, you can start the divorce proceedings, but you gotta wait a whole 6 months until that shit is finalized. And they're expecting you to stay with that dude and endure physical violence, sexual violence, whatever it is. Now, you women you got a choice to make. You got a choice to fuck around and sell out all the women the way the white women did with Roe versus Wade, or get all these fucking Republicans out of office, put the Democrats in, and then start using your block political voting power to make sure you get back all your rights that these motherfuckers took from you. And you have a third option, or maybe second. I don't know how many options I talked about already. You don't have to get married, period. That's the way you win the game. You don't have to get married. And if you are married and you want to get a divorce, do it and leave the fucking house. You still have human rights. You still have constitutional rights, despite what the fuck they say. So who gives a fuck if they say you can't get divorced? No problem. I'll stay married to this motherfucker. He'll live here. I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be somewhere else until that time limit runs out for me to get my fucking divorce decree. If you come fuck with me, I will put you 6 feet in the fucking ground, or I will call the cops and have them arrest your fucking ass and do whatever they got to do to you. But you will not disturb my motherfucking peace. And that's how you got to get down in this world. And when it comes to this shit of them trying to force women into having children, it's real simple, women. Stop fucking and stop having babies. Period. And this is where shit like history dictates and tries to direct you how to win for the future. This has been done before, black women, in the past. This has been done prior to the existence of Roe versus Wade. This has been done throughout the history of America. And do you know what black women, white women, all women did? They did the same thing Asian women do. They don't fuck with those men. Asian women are the number one women in the world that do not fuck with their own men. They go with every other type of man but their own. Everybody knows it. They also, as young girls to young adult women, they do not fuck those men. They do not have children with them out of wedlock. They don't have children with them in wedlock. They fucking act like they don't exist. You, as American women, the way you dealt with it in the past was to give rallies, create black feminism and then white feminism, fight for your rights, and demand equality and equity. Bravo. More power to you. Today, I would tell you to continue to fighting for equity and equality, but keep your distance from all men. Men are not like women. We don't need sex. We don't need to have cohabitation. We can live good by ourselves or with another woman or just ourselves, our children, or ourselves and our animals. They're the ones with the fucking issues. Males are the one with the problems where they need to fuck something or someone, and they need to be in a position where they feel like they lord and rule over somebody. Do as I say, not as I do. Do what I tell you to do, or I'll fuck you up. That's them. That's not us. So they're the ones with the problem. But they cannot force you to do shit if you don't want to. And if anybody does try to force you, then you have every right to take their fucking life for trying. And it is very easy, women. All it takes is a simple blade right to the carotid artery, and they're out of here. They're out of here. Or any other artery in the body that is vital to the blood flow for existence. They're gone. Or a bullet, or whatever else, a taser on the highest voltage for a certain amount of time, whatever it takes. But I'm being that extreme to explain to you that no one can force you to do shit if you don't want to. So do not fear any shit they come up with. Just be prepared to battle it all the fucking way to the end. All the way. Like even with all the shit they've done so far to us, no matter. You have the right in November and every other election coming forth to vote the person in that will get rid of all this shit these Republicans have put in to hurt you. End story. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to be up in arms about. Just get rid of the people who cause the problems. Vote them out of office. Period. That's all you got to do. It's that simple. And then work on building the solidarity amongst you, black women, your group of people, so that you know you can rely on each other. And once you become strong, you don't have to worry about employment, housing, or etc., because you will be able to go to another woman that looks like you to get whatever the fuck you need. But that type of rhetoric and that type of hate towards black women for black women gotta fucking stop. It has to stop.
College. I'm smart. I'm classy. I want to marry a man for love. I don't want to deal with him for money. I was surprised that a lot of black women, younger black women, were gravitating to her message, because that's pretty much what her message is all about: getting the bag, regardless of any means necessary out of these men. If you're going to give these men your time, you may as well get paid for it, because at the end of the day, these men are using women. Most men do not give a fuck about how you feel. They don't care anything about love. They're using you. Either they're using you for your youth, they're using you for your time, they're using you as a therapist, they're using you as a sex toy. True. But most black women, they like to be used.
Not true.
Absolutely nothing out the deal.
Not true.
But I also said this. Excuse the noise in the background. Somebody's about to start cutting the yard or whatever. But the whole thing is this. I'm shocked, but I'm not surprised that these same damn women are turning on She-Ra 7.
They're not.
I'm not shocked.
They're not.
This is what black women do.
All right, see that shit right there? I want her to stop that. Okay? It's like she takes 3 steps forwards, but then always takes a step back. And it's that shit where it's innately within her videos, because I don't know her, to always try to fucking come at black women. Like, she has to have that hate in there for a certain group of black women no matter what. And it's like, if she would stop doing that, she would be fucking perfect. I'm telling you, because she's very fucking smart. She sees things through a lens that is unique. But that hate that she has for other black women fucks her up all the time. And if she stops that, she'd be perfect. I'm telling you. Because black women, even when you think they're in a fantasy, they know what the fuck is going on. They have to make the decision to either stop that shit, get out of it, or change the way they're doing things. And if they feel so defeated, so broken, so helpless, so hopeless, they're going to keep doing the same shit and stay where they are, because they feel like, what's literally the sense of trying to change when there's nothing for me? I literally have heard women say that, because as you know, I have worked several years with homeless women and women in domestic violence. I mean, I hear this shit all the time. And it takes all of the life of me to convince them, you do know that you have a life to live, and every tomorrow brings a new day. You could do something else with your life that you either didn't know how to do or that you didn't have the guts enough to do. It's waiting for you. You just got to want to get up and do it. So this thing where, we want to believe that black women like being tore down and fucked up. They don't. They don't. Because that's the reason why they all irritated, frustrated, angry, and fucking aggressive. And yes, anger is allowed because it is a real human emotion that keeps you from being depressed, keeps you from killing yourself, and sometimes keeps you from killing other people. Believe me, I know. Because I was angrier than a motherfucker today. And I really wanted to fucking hurt some people, but I had to control myself. Because white people and Hispanic people, they get on my motherfucking nerves. This is me stepping out of what I'm talking about for a minute to reflect on some shit today, right? Introspection. Now, y'all know I got the new dog. She's still learning. She's doing very good, but she's still learning. So she has this aggressive fucking prey drive, right? Because of what she is. So when I see other dogs and I know she's going to try to either go to them, if they show any aggression, she's going to become more aggressive, right? It's the female instinct in the animal. It is way more aggressive than the male. Okay. So I see that. I see the other dog come in. The man picks it up. This neighbor of mine, we're friends. So I tell him, dog, he knows. He picks up his dog. So it's these white people and these Hispanic people. And you know how you see it in the eyes of the person? They see the situation, but they want to try to make a problem. So he tried to take, the white dude and the Hispanic people tried to take up the whole fucking hallway when I'm walking to the elevator to try to cause an incident between me and them and the dog. Because they see the dog is trying to get to the other dog, not like anger trying to attack, but curiosity and pulling. So I'm trying to get her to listen to commands, stay calm or whatever. And the dude is trying to get in my way. So as I get aggressive, of course, my dog is going to get aggressive. So I told him, I said, get the fuck out of my way before you fuck around and find out, okay? I said, I know you know what you're doing. So he's like, because whenever you like straight forth and in their face, and I was really close to grabbing that nigga by his throat, right? He moves over and he says whatever. I said, no, you fucking around because you see me trying to get this dog under control and you want to try to come and intervene in what I'm doing so that she can have a negative reaction towards you. But I said, believe me, motherfucker, your biggest worry is not this fucking dog. Believe me when I tell you that shit. And I have to pull it back because I really am like fucking snap like that, So I have to control myself. So I know that when people are saying these things about black women and no, they just like me. It gets to the point where you understand that everybody out here has a problem with you. The whole world is fucking anti-black. They got an issue with you because you're a woman. And they feel like because you're a woman, they think they could fucking try you just because you're a woman. And it's like, yeah, you may be able to do that with some of us, but you're not going to be able to do that with all of us. Because you don't know who all of us are. You don't know the backgrounds we come from. You don't know what our abilities are. So when I see these other women out here exhibiting some of the same anger and aggression I have, I understand it. And I understand that doesn't always come from you being a fucked up person and you just feeling like, I'm just going to take all my frustrations out on the world. No, it doesn't always come from that. And that's not always what it is. Pardon me. For the most part, what it is you just get tired of people going out of their way to try to always cause an issue for you, when if they would just go about their business and stop being a fucking fool and messing with you, there would be no problem. But because this entire world has made them feel so entitled to doing whatever they want, and they have seen throughout the history of time that they can do shit to black people and get away with it, they all feel inclined to try you until they come across the black person that doesn't give a fuck about getting in trouble or who will literally fuck you up on the spot, then it's a whole different situation. Then it's like, oh, they crazy. Oh. So that's why a lot of the stuff that's being said here aggravates me, but I understand it. And it's not like it's so difficult that, I'm going to come here and start cursing and tearing the shit down. No, because I know it's more complex than just the words that she's saying. It has a lot more layers to it, like an onion that none of us have the time of day or the ability to get into to explain every fine, delicate, intricate detail of why it is that way. Because every person is different, but we are all subject to the same hostile environment as being a black woman in this world. Period.
That's why you cannot spend your time trying to teach black women any fucking thing. They'll get out here and they'll try to shame you, try to say they're slut shaming you or you're putting people's lives in danger. No, a lot of you bitches put people's lives in danger when you tell these girls to just get with these fucking men out of love. Most of these men do not love these women that they deal with. They use them. Either they use them for a place to stay, they use them some free sex, some raw free sex. They don't.
Oh yeah, I don't want to get into that because black women do have to check themselves with sleeping with these dudes raw, because herpes of the throat and mouth is becoming a very real thing, second to black femicide, and the fact that they're contracting AIDS and HIV and literally dying from that shit really would say you need to stop sleeping with these dudes without protection. Period. I don't care who they are. Husband, baby father, man you've been with for 25 years. Let them strap up or let them get the fuck out of here, because they're all nasty and you never know what they're doing. Now, the other thing too is, I know she's talking about those BWE people and them Christian people and all them crazy women that's always trying to make black women feel like a little piece of man is better than no man at all. Yeah, they do put black women in danger, because it's that mindset of trying to indoctrinate black women into thinking that you're not valid without having a man, you're not worthy of being a woman without having a man. That will get you killed. The majority, when you look at it seriously, if you go on to Leia's page or Black Girl Unlost and you look at the black backstory to the majority of those black women that were killed by black femicide, it was because they stayed in dysfunctional relationships with dudes just because they were either married to them, had children by them, or they were in a common law relationship. You can't do that. It doesn't matter what your status is, who this asshole is. The first time that he starts making your life unbearable, putting your health and safety at risk, your children's health and safety at risk, it's time to go. Time to end that shit. He go his way, I go mine. End of story. End of story. Even if it means moving to another state so he does not have access to his kids. That's the shit you gotta do. And the other thing is, like, keep in mind, a lot of this stuff that's going on between Whistleblower and Shira, right? And what she's saying now is a turnaround and people attacking Shira. I haven't seen that. But if she's saying it, maybe she saw something. But that's probably not black women. That's probably black males, once again, doing that with those dummy channels. Because I've seen that too. I've seen them, because y'all remember, you got deep fake and you got AI. A lot of these people on here using deep fake to be black women and copying other people to make them say things that they're not. I've seen that a few times on here. And you just got to keep all of that in mind. Everything is not always the way you think it is. So remember that always. Well, then get back to what she had to say and then we'll wrap up.
Come in them and they just dump them. You know, this is basically what most black women are getting used for: a place to stay, a car to drive, somewhere to just lay their sperm at. They're not getting anything out of the deal. So I was really shocked that people were like all over TikTok saying, I support Shira 7. Now they're turning on Shira 7. And I knew that it was coming because I know how black women get down. Most of black women are just as ignorant as fucking niggers. They're just as ignorant as the sons that they birth. So you cannot teach them anything. A lot of them are jealous, a lot of them are envious, and a lot of them are hateful. They'll be mad at you because you can do something that they can't do. Or they'll be mad at you because you can get the bag out of men and they can't get the bag out of the man because they don't know how to deal with men. They don't know how to talk to men. They don't know how to use men. They like to be used. It's vice versa. The men are using majority of black women. Black women are not using a soul. They're not using a soul. They don't know how to get anything out of these fucking men. They'll tell you, oh, I went to school, I went to college, I accumulated all this student loan debt, I'm still in debt, I'm still paying rent, I'm still paying car payments, I really don't have anything in my name, but I have this degree with no man and a bunch of damn kids out of wedlock. So I'm not shocked that black women turned on her. But if you've been around on YouTube for quite a while now, this is how Shira 7 has always talked.
All right. You know, I have a lot of issue with that, right? Where to begin with that shit? Let me just say this and wrap it up, okay? Because I'm not gonna go through the whole video. That may be a small percentage of black women. That's not all of us. And as far as the student loan debt goes, I will say this again. It takes time for people to own things in their name. Everybody's not like me, where I had a grandfather who left money to my father, where as a little baby, I was given dowry, and that's the reason and why I was able to get my first house. Not everybody's like that. And so it takes a certain amount of thousands of dollars, if you're not in one of these first-time home buyer programs that allow you no down payment in order to get a home. Or if you have a relative or somebody to give you a gift to get a first-time home, things are never as easy as she just made it seem. And take it from me. I'm not a person that flexes and flaunts my degrees. I have 3 of them. And I told you guys before, 1 is totally useless, right? Because a lot of times when we go to school, people don't always tell us the right way to do things. So we have to learn the hard way. And with her right there, I think a little bit of hate going on there for people with degrees. And it shouldn't be like that because we black women work really hard to get our education. And those of us who don't have the same amount of education, we still work hard, okay? So it doesn't matter if you have educational debt loans. You can always pay them shits down slowly, or you could refinance the loan. You could do several things with that loan. You have to go on to, Navient, which is the one that handles most of the governmental loans, or go on FAFSA and go to the loan department, and it will tell you directly where to go to make sure you can either minimize, reorganize your student debt, and also go into forgiveness programs where you literally work it off or find another way to deal with it. There are tons of ways to deal with it. You know, maybe I might do that video again, but I'm very upset because with my other channel, I did all of this for y'all 2-3 times fucking over to explain that when you go to school and you inherit debt, that is not the fucking end of the world. It is actually the fucking beginning of your life. So I'm going to leave right now, end the video, but I wanted to just provide a little sparkle of hope, right? That was a play on the sprinkle, sprinkle, if y'all didn't catch that, right? And let y'all know that black women, no matter where you are in this fucking life, you always got tomorrow to get to wherever the fuck you trying to be. Don't let any of these people put you down or make you feel like you can't get or deserve what you want out of life. Just make sure you don't put yourself at risk to get it, okay? Be well. Enjoy the rest of this Memorial Day. Do whatever it is makes you feel happy today. And love your fucking self and center yourself every fucking day going forward after today. Peace out.